But he didn't kill any prospect. I feel like, I mean, Joshua Van is up there fighting for the belt, and he's still down here scrapping it out with prospects. Um, oh, so Charles Johnson has a 3-inch reach advantage. Um, Finishing ability, both of them are not that great at finishing fights. Charles Johnson has a 69% finishing rate. Loney Kavanagh has a 56% finishing rate. So both of them are not particularly great at finishing fights. Um, Activity, Charles Johnson is a little bit more active. Defensively, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Loney Kavanagh, despite the fact that I think both of them are pretty decent defensively. Obviously, Charles Johnson and his height and reach give him some type of an advantage at flyweight to avoid getting in dangerous situations. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. But in all honesty, it's looking like Charles Johnson, man. If I don't get a lot of picks wrong on this card, I don't know. So, based on what I think, I'm picking Loney Kavanaugh. My subscribers are going with Charles Johnson. Loney Kavanaugh is defensively, but it's not like Charles Johnson is horrible defensively. I'm speaking specifically about striking. But when you look at the offensive element of this particular fight, Charles Johnson is going to have a reach advantage, a 3-inch reach advantage, combined with the fact that Johnson is going to be the more active fighter. Both of them are not particularly great at finishing fights. So this is probably going to be going to a decision. And if it goes to a decision, the most active fighter is probably going to be the one who's going to get the decision, which I probably think might be Charles Johnson. As far as the grappling goes, that's where I think it's going to favor Loney Kavanagh, and I genuinely, truly, and sincerely do hope that he wrestles. These guys come into these fights and they ignore their one good skill that they have just to prove a point. Especially wrestlers. I don't know why wrestlers have this idea that maybe it's because of what people. Hamza Chimaev dominated Dricus Duplessis, and people are saying it's boring. So probably maybe that's why wrestlers come into the UFC and try to strike. I just hope Loney Kavanagh does not do that. Charles Johnson is not good defensively. I think it's gonna be easy for Loney Kavanagh to take him down. I don't know if it's going to finish him. It might be a boring decision where Loney actually takes down Charles Johnson, controls him, and maybe ground and pounds him. Maybe I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be a little bit more easier to take Charles Johnson down. Um, yeah, to be honest, that's how I feel like this fight is going to play out. Feed, I feel like Charles Johnson might have a bit of an advantage to some extent. I feel like the reach advantage, the activity, both of them are pretty decent defensively. Whereas I feel like Loney Kavanagh, even though he's good defensively, offensively on the feet, he's not very active. He doesn't throw as much as Charles Johnson. And if the fight stays on the feet and it goes to decision, I'm almost certain that Charles Johnson is going to be the busier guy, throwing a lot more, avoiding getting hit. He's very elusive. Like I said, with the reach and with the height, he's very elusive. So he's kind of hard to hit. Now, when you go to the ground, that's where Loney Kavanagh should go from the moment the round starts. That's where I need Loney Kavanagh to go because Charles Johnson is going to be is very horrible defensively. So I think that's where Loney Kavanagh can have the most amount of success. I generally do hope he takes the fight to the ground. I don't think he's going to get a lot of resistance there. So yeah, my subscribers are going with Charles Johnson. I'm going with Loney Kavanagh. I think on the feed, the Charles Johnson wins this fight. He's not going to knock out anyone. So if this, but I think Loney Kavanagh should win the grappling exchanges. Um, Charles Johnson might win the striking exchanges, even though I do feel like Kavanagh has some level of striking, just that I don't feel like he's active enough. And I lose a decision on the feet if he decides to stand. So I genuinely and honestly do hope that he wrestles. So yeah, in conclusion, I'm going with Lonnie Kavanagh. My subscribers are going with Charles Johnson. Guess we'll see what happens. I love and appreciate all of you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, deuces.